Relax, it's just sports. Yeah, relax.
Yeah, relax.
I mean, this was a really bad week for Cincinnati sports fans.
Yeah, you wouldn't know by your face, though.
Because I'm excited. 'Tis the holidays. I'm smiling. Sue me for smiling.
Yeah, I will.
Why did jump on me? What am I? Isn't that the whole point? It's like we're relaxing, we're sipping the tea. Mm-hmm. Funny side note before we get into the intro to the show. A good friend who is a journalist in Chicago reached out to me and was like, I love the content you've been posting. It's like kind of tea for the girls about sports, and I know nothing about football, but it's kind of like tea. It's giving, I like it. I'm like, that's literally the point.
Yeah.
Welcome to the plot, sister.
I'm glad she joined us.
I know, and she's big. She's like an Emmy and Merle winning journalist. So,
but doesn't care about sports usually.
She cares about baseball, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, let's get to
everyone here.
Let's get to the show. Make sure, like all the things Taylor makes me say to you, subscribe, like, rate, all the things. Shout out to that guy who stopped me on the street over the weekend and was like, you have a podcast. And I was like, that's what people know me from.
Well, and I kind of like it because we said interact with us. Yes, that could be in person.
Yeah, IRL interactions. It was very funny, though, because I'll get recognized a good amount for, stuff on TV, TikTok. When I was like, you have a podcast, I was like, we've been doing it, guys. We've been doing the thing. So the shout out to him and his wife who were enjoying a nice holiday dinner. Some housekeeping before we get into the rundown. I'm doing a lot of before. This is the pre-show, I guess. No episode. First time we're going to skip a week. Christmas week, Hanukkah week, Christmas week. Enjoy it with your family. We have a bunch of different schedules going on, so we're going to preview the Dolphins game. And since the Bengals are eliminated, I feel like it's okay to skip a week. If you're really thirsty for that Christmas Eve content, by all means, I'll still be posting stuff on TikTok and Instagram, and it'll be more timely. Okay, so for what we got today, Bengals, as you wrote, it's Joever, but there are still 3 games left. A lot of cleanup to do from that game season. We'll do more of the season stuff later on, but a little bit of what happened. Look ahead to Miami because I think these 3 games still, although you can't make the playoffs, they mean a whole lot going into the end of the year. Mm-hmm. College football, Liberty Bowl. What? Stay in line?
Do you see what I said? Yeah. If you're in line to play at the Liberty Bowl, stay in line. There is no one else playing. You have a chance to play. Stay in line.
Okay, the caps that you wrote in the rundown really threw me off guard. I promise I read this before, but the caps.
You said, what?
The caps just yelled at me. Okay, we're gonna talk Liberty Bowl, college football. College football playoffs is out there, but we're gonna really talk more about because again, no show next week. Liberty Bowl, little preview. Baseball. We still clean up this Kyle Schwarber stuff, and I got some thoughts on the Reds and some of the comments that have come out since the last show about their choices in this free agency winter meetings. Reds announced the Hall of Fame class that I was a voter on. I'll tell you who I voted for. I think you already know. Basketball, T at UC, and Xavier, shockingly, to me at least, doing the thing.
Yeah, okay, going into Big East play.
Yeah, since he did the news, which I think is low-key very juicy for not just Cincinnati, but Ohio, honestly nationwide. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really interesting one. It's not just funsies. This is what happened this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready to rock and roll?
I am.
Bengals. It's Joever, as you said.
Yeah, it's Joever. I have been saying it's Joever for upwards of 2 years, and I did make a graphic last year when the Bengals didn't make the playoffs of a picture of Joe Burrow's face saying it's Joever. I had to bring that back out this week.
Did you get a lot of hate on that?
No.
Because I'll never forget our former boss, who I adore,
yes,
when he wrote the article saying Ellie de la Bust.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of hate on that.
Yeah, and I think that's because he was actually hating on Ellie. I was making a joke. So people were actually very nice about mine.
Shout out listener to the pod, PJ. Sorry to bring back the Blippy comments. That's a deep inside joke for those who get it. So now that I'm learning our podcast is bigger and bigger, I should probably stop with the inside jokes. Okay, yeah, it's over for the Bengals. That was one of the worst Bengals games I have covered.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. It was abysmal, scoring 0 points. Joe Burrow said it perfectly. Not a team in the NFL would have won with him at quarterback that day.
100%. I think, let's go through all the facts of the day, if you will. Number one, I'm seeing posts from people where they couldn't even get into the stadium at the time of the start of the game.
So should we start with the snow?
Let's just go in chronological order.
So it started with, I woke up freezing because it was so cold.
Yeah, it was like 9 degrees.
Yeah, shout out to all the hardworking people on the field. Not the players, like you get your money to do that, but like the people, like the photographers and the audio crews, like hats off to you because that was the second coldest NFL game I've covered. The coldest was the AFC Championship loss in Kansas City, to the point where like it was hard to talk on TV afterwards because of the wind. Luckily, there wasn't really a wind chill in that game, and the sun was out, but it was still crazy cold. So, Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk posted before the game. I noticed it, but maybe this is because I'm a bad journalist. I didn't think anything of like snow being on seats.
Yeah.
Like, so the snow was covering the seats. The aisles were fine. I noticed it, but like there was no effort to clean up the snow. So Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk put out an article saying this goes against NFL guidelines. I'm gonna be straight up. I didn't even know that was against NFL guidelines. Like it makes sense to be safe, but and then the Bengals were like, yeah, like it wasn't that bad. Like people were like equipped to clean it off. And I know we reached out to the Bengals for a comment, and they're like, go to the NFL.
Basically,
and then the NFL, Brian McCarthy was there, was basically like, they didn't bring any rules. So
yeah, because the rules are kind of just like, do what you can.
Yeah.
And I think the Bengals argued, well, we did what we could. But I would think
that's the Bengals argument for the whole season.
Literally. And I think that the fans argued, I actually don't think that you did all that you could. But what I was talking about is the lines to get in. A lot of people were complaining that they weren't allowed to bring in the cardboard that we just discussed. Other teams were letting people bring in cardboard. A lot of people were like, there weren't enough staff to like actually help us get in.
I think the machines were also slower because of the cold. I even noticed that with my credential outside. Like I scanned my credential everywhere to let me in places. The NFL started this like 2 years ago where it like lights up green and then you can go. That was like noticeably slower. But also, you know me, when it comes to this stuff, I'm not defending the Bengals or any NFL team on any of this because I think it's fans first. Like, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Everyone, because of how cold it was, waited till the last minute to get in. So, like, obviously, that's going to create crowds.
Of course, yeah. I think all of it was like 40 things at once happening. I do think you are correct in the fact that like that is just kind of the Bengals motto, which is, well, we did what we could.
Yeah.
I don't know that they did what they could, but they technically did not break any rules. However, imagine you're a fan, because obviously you do get to be in a box, right?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not going to complain about myself at all.
But I'm saying, imagine you're a fan. You, for unknown reasons, truly decide to go to this game. You wait in the long line to get in. They take away your cardboard. You watch this game, and it was a 24-0 loss.
That was disgusting. And I'm pulling up a text right now because you talked about the fans that did go. A text that I got from our high school sports expert, Mike Dyer, because I wanted to ask him, because halfway through the first quarter, there was like nobody there, which I get. Like, big trust, I get. And I asked him how many people were there for the Elder St. X game. And he said 22,374 was the official attendance number according to the OHSAA. There were at points in the first quarter more people at that Elder St. X game than there was at the Bengals game, which I understood. And then people got in, it filled out.
It got way more
But when in the fourth quarter, they got on the mic, the PR staff, and said the official attendance was 64,000, soda came through my nose, like the spit take I did. I was like, that is so to the defense, I think they go off of the paid attendance.
Sure.
And I think people bought tickets and didn't come. Season ticket holders didn't come. They didn't sell their tickets, whatever. I saw tickets on third-party websites like StubHub, SeatGeek, whatever. I'm not loyal to any of you until you sponsor the show. That tickets were like $9.
Yeah, it was nothing.
So I get that. But it was shout out to the fans who did come. So sorry. Like, not that I had anything to do with it, but so sorry. Zach Taylor apologized too, as I kind of think everyone on the Bengals should apologize for that showing, especially, so.
Yeah, because it's more than just, oh, there was snow in my seat. It's also, I came here to watch you guys get absolutely trounced in a do-or-die game.
Joe Burrow's first home game.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of the year.
Yeah. I genuinely, if I were a fan, I'd be like, wow, I've never wasted more time in my life than I did just now for these like 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, it was. I mean, as a reporter. I never waste. I'm kidding. No, there were actually good storylines to come out of it. Yeah. And what's crazy about this is the same team that 3 weeks ago the Bengals just bullied, even though and Zach Taylor did make a good point. He's like, yeah, I know it looked like we took easy care of them the first time, but we got 5 turnovers. And he didn't say this part, but like low-key 4 of them were the Ravens' fault. So like they
100%.
weren't like
it was just like Lamar accidentally dropped it.
Exactly.
Like
Isaiah Likely ball pops out of his hand at the goal line.
Yeah.
Like which the Bengals did 2 weeks in a row, funny enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, the football of it all, there really isn't much to talk about from an offensive standpoint. Joe Burrow said it was one of the worst games of his career. And it was the second lowest passer QBR he had. What does QBR even mean? QBR meaning quarterback rating. It's some stat some nerds made. It doesn't really matter. Because he threw for 225 yards, fine. Passing percentage was fine. 2 interceptions. This is the second week in a row he threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah, and one of them was kind of a mistake. Like,
at some point.
Oh, it bounces off someone's hand. Something happens.
But it was a bad throw.
But it was a bad throw.
So, like Joe Burrow's, the one thing you could say about him is he is, I would say, the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. His accuracy from throwing the ball is fantastic, and he hasn't been.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. Like the throw was too high, and that leads to interceptions, and quarterbacks know that.
Too high and kind of behind Jamar anyway. So
yeah.
No, it was definitely a terrible time. I also saw the clip, I'm sure you saw it, of Jamar yelling at the fans who were like, booing. I mean, the fans were just booing the entire time, it felt like.
So I didn't hear what they said to Joe because I was not on the field.
Yeah, I didn't hear it either.
I think that's fine. Jamar could yell at the fans. I have no problem with that. If you're a fan and you're yelling at players on the field, whether or not they're your team, I think the players have every right to yell back if they want to. Heck yeah.
Yeah. But it's also just giving absolute terrible vibes all around.
Oh, vibes are terrible. Yeah. Why didn't you ask? Vibes are horrible.
Yeah. What was the post-game vibe like?
Bad.
It looked really bad from my view.
It was bad. So I always say the worst post games you could ever go to are when you're covering NCAA March Madness and you're in there and the team loses in the Sweet 16 or the round of 30, whatever, and it's done. It's worse than round of 64. Because round of 64, you're happy to be there.
Yeah.
The deeper you get into the March Madness and you're dealing with the last year guys, the seniors, like that's my most hated locker rooms.
The season where Kentucky lost in the Elite Eight to UNC, and they tried to interview the players, and it was Bam Adebayo and Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox, and they are sobbing in a huddle, and you're just like, what do you say? Like, so how are things? Like, you can't talk to them.
Yeah, I think, honestly, when I covered that Xavier team, Sweet 16, that was one of the most tough locker rooms I was in because, like, they were old, they knew it. Like,
they know
this was
it's
their
over.
run, and they were on all these national TV shows, and it was done. And they quickly were getting national attention. So, prefacing that, this was a different vibe. This was like, whatever. Like, I'm like done, defeated. They've never been in this position. Any of the guys on this team that they've been knocked out this early. Yeah. This is the earliest since 2020. So Burrow was on that team, but he tore his ACL, so he didn't play.
Yeah.
But besides that, nobody. Jamar came the next year, and they got Jamar because of that bad year. So it was the way it went was Zach came in first, and we listened, and we get to go into the locker room after Zach talks, and Zach said he was stunned, and I asked him a question, which we'll get into in a second. So then Zach talked, and then normally when Zach talks, we run into the locker room until someone from the Bengals PR staff said, Joe Burrow to the press conference, and then we run back to the press conference. By the time we literally were like getting our camera and microphone to head into the locker room, Joe walked into the press conference room. So it was like quick turnaround, like get back set up because he doesn't wait for us.
Yeah.
And Joe owned it immediately, saying it was his fault. He told the guys it was his fault, that he was very bad. No team in the NFL would have won with him at quarterback. And then we went to the locker room afterwards where we spoke to Jamar Chase and Ted Karras and Miles Murphy, who had a good game. The defense played pretty well. They only let up 17 points against the Ravens. I know it was 24-0, but 7 of those points were off of a pick six. So Jamar, or just talking first about the question that I asked all of them was, one of my favorite things to do as a journalist is we get fed coach speak and player speak all the time.
Yeah.
You take it as you will because like they're saying these things because they're blanket statement and true. Is remember what they always say, put it in your back pocket, and then when they're not doing it, ask why. So I asked Zach Taylor. The one thing they always say, we got to play complementary football. Zach, it was the offense this week. It's been defenses other weeks. Why has been complementary football so hard to find this year? Mm-hmm. He said, that's a tough one for me to answer. I don't know. I then asked Joe Burrow the same question about 11 minutes later. Because we're a bad football team.
Yeah. Direct quote, we haven't been a good football team. Bad football teams do losing things.
Thank you, Joe. That's the answer.
And he's right. And he's completely right.
Yeah.
But what did you take from those two complete different answers from them?
Very emotional after a game where their playoff hopes were officially extinguished. Mm-hmm. I think it's hard to take after a game. That's why I like Mondays much better. Because, I mean, I love the raw emotion of it all after a game. And maybe it is how they feel. And it's a give and take. You're more likely to get a spicier answer right after the game because emotions are so high. Mm-hmm. But is that the most thought out answer? Like, well, Zach's never going to tell us the real reason behind this because that's his job, that's his livelihood, which is what he talked about on Monday, is that he takes full accountability for it all. Like, he's the reason they're 4-10. He's the reason they didn't score because he calls the plays. Just will you be held accountable is the question.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Joe Burrow, that's kind of what I take from it, is that it was after a game, super emotional, and Joe was being real. And I think it kind of goes back to, although he denied it, last Wednesday when Joe Burrow was talking about not being happy playing football. And
that's not what he said.
What did he say?
He said,
you have to find happiness.
I want to be happy. Post-injury, I have found happiness. I haven't always been happy.
There you go.
But I think it's important to note, because a lot of people online have been going crazy about this. He was mostly saying, like, previous to this, I have not been happy because it's about winning, whatever. Now I am trying to actually focus on just being happy with playing the game, being happy being here, that kind of stuff.
But he was also asked, you seem like you have a lot on your mind. What's going on? He goes, I'm dealing with a lot.
Yeah. I think based on that, a lot of people were like, I mean, I go to First Take, a lot of people were like,
yeah, please.
Oh my gosh, he's going to leave. I never read that as he's going to leave. I read it, we kind of talked like, yes, he clearly wants the organization to do something. He's frustrated. But I also, and especially based on Jamar's conversation
which is
post-game,
what I was setting this up to talk about.
It's giving to me personal more than anything else.
Right, but remember, his football life is his personal life too.
I agree, but I do. I mean, at any point, it's like I can talk about this. You could talk about this. Something has happened in your personal life, and it's obviously gonna like heavily affect your life. You try not to let it heavily affect your life, but when his personal life is this much of his life, and then football is like 90% of his life, no matter what, if something big happens, it's going to bleed into everything.
Sure.
So in my eyes, it wasn't the same POV that I thought that a lot of other
people I think
had.
it was twisted a little bit, but I also think when Diana Rossini's report came out on Saturday about, he was really talking about frustrated with like them having a small scouting department, with them having one of the smaller coaching staffs and
which
support
we've
staffs.
talked about a bunch. Yeah.
But that goes into not being happy, and he said it's not about Cincinnati. His comments. Jamar Chase, when we spoke to him 5 minutes after the press conference ended, where Joe Burrow said it's not about Cincinnati, he was like, I got to be there for Joe, I got to be there for Joe. And then pretty much unprompted, he was asked about what does being there for Joe look like after he kept on saying, I got to be there for Joe. Let me backtrack a second. I asked him. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow just sat in his press conference and spoke about how it was one of the worst games of his career, and he was extremely hard on himself. And he's extremely hard on himself because no team in the NFL would have won that game, and he's a realist. And he said, and Jamar said, I've known Joe a long time. I know when he's on, I know when he's not. And on days when he's not, I need to be there to make it easier for him because he is for me. Then fast forward a few more minutes, Jamar's being asked a lot of questions. Jamar had a very interesting demeanor. It was kind of like hands up demeanor. Like, what are you going to do?
Which honestly is exactly how I would be too.
Oh, I thought Jamar handled it really well.
No, I thought so too. I thought he did a great job. I was impressed.
Jamar was asked 2 questions that interested me, and one of his answers to what does being there for Joe look like. He goes, he's being there for me, like maybe hanging out with him, not doing football. He goes, because you never know what someone is going through. I got to be there. This happened after Joe Burrow had a closed-door meeting that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, where he talked to the team.
So for Jamar to just bring that up, something like seriously, something stinks.
Yeah. Well, that's why when I watched that, I was like, I don't subscribe to the TikTok, his girlfriend broke up with him.
Stop with that.
That stuff is stupid. But I do think that when I heard him say that, I was like, yeah, it's not him being mad at Duke Tobin.
So my point in bringing any of this up is not to figure out the answer.
Yeah.
It's that Joe Burrow made more mental mistakes in that game than he's made in his whole career.
And
that's the dots I'm connecting.
Yeah, but
and he said it had nothing to do with it, though.
Yeah.
Which can't be true.
But that's also what you have to say.
He got sacked out of field goal range. He threw a ball to the other team where no one else was around. Like, he was making stuff that Joe Burrow doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. And this is the week where he's talking about his emotions and feelings, something that Joe Burrow doesn't really do. Mm-hmm. It stinks. Like when I say it stinks, something smells.
Yeah, but to me it was, this is my opinion, to me it was giving like more so depression or, that's what I was reading it as because, yeah, like I've said, like I do a good job at work. I separate my work from my personal life. But then if I'm like depressed or if I'm like going through something, I'm going to mess up an article that I write. I'm going to forget to hit.
And that's what I'm saying.
But that's what I think it was. I think more and more people, I'm reading ESPN People Talk, I'm reading random reports where they're like, well, maybe he's just so frustrated with the organ. And I'm like, no, I think he is. But I don't think that's the reason that he's forgetting to do this or messing up this. I think it's definitely more giving personal, mental.
I think, I think the two don't necessarily have to be not connected. I hear you. I'm sure something's going on in his personal life.
Yeah.
But I also think the frustration of losing and like things are good when you win. They just are. Yeah. Personal life is just naturally better.
I agree.
So.
But I really think when I watched it, I was more so thinking, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm not liking.
He's not Andrew Luck.
Well, no, he's not Andrew Luck. Where I think he's like been so injured and downtrodden that he's like, this isn't good for me. I also don't think that like he's about to kill himself. Like he's not giving suicidal vibes. He's not giving that energy. I think he's just giving the energy of someone who's like, I worked so hard to come back from this. And nothing is working out the way that I wanted things to work out, whether it's football and also life. And yeah, I'm messing up and I'm doing a lot of stuff that I'm messing up on. And I don't think that people need to hear everything he says or hear what Jamar says and go, wow, Joe's on life support SOS mode. Yeah. And I also don't think people need to hear that and go, wow, Joe wants Zach out. Joe wants this. I don't think any of that's true. I think it's more so that he's like, yeah, I'm pissed. I went through all this stuff. I came back. We suck. My personal life also might suck. I'm really annoyed and I'm not having a good time. And I can relate to that. And I think everybody can relate to that.
Yes. I just think it's hard for people to relate when they see the position he's in.
Sure. Yeah. But I do think like, fortunately for him, it's not like the Bengals have been tied the whole way to getting to the playoffs. And he blew it for them. This was, it was a do or die game.
It's a last-ditch effort.
But also you needed people to lose. You needed this to happen. So I think he's lucky in the fact that he can be like, yeah, it sucks, but I didn't ruin the world.
Well, counterpoint.
Yes.
He kind of did. Because the Buffalo game, the 2 interceptions cost them. Mm-hmm. The Ravens game they lost. If the Bengals went 9-8, they would have been in the playoffs. Sure, you need a loss here or there, but I'm telling you they would have been.
I'm like, you still need the Steelers and the Ravens to fall the way you need them to fall.
It doesn't matter if wins or buts. 9-8 probably would have. There's a good chance they would have gotten in.
Sure, but
but like he did that.
The ifs and buts don't matter at that point. Yeah.
But my point is, you're like, it's not like he ruined it for them. He low-key took them out of their last chance.
I don't disagree.
How about the question another reporter asked about, do you think your game's been slipping? And he was like, no.
Yeah.
Which is good for him.
Which is also crazy. Imagine
Crazy question.
He went, yeah, I'm just not seeing
Yeah.
the field.
I mean, I get asking it. I would never ask that because I don't, like,
you're not going to get a good answer.
he's been back for 3 games from an injury that and he came back super fast.
I have full faith in Joe Burrow in
really?
In 2026. Like, I think 2026, he's got enough time where he's worked off the injury. He's
I'll tell you
back,
this, and I've been saying it internally, I'll say it externally. If they don't make the playoffs next year, I think he's gone.
Well, sure, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's due to Joe Burrow's. Like, I'm saying I have full faith in his talent and abilities. I don't think that it's, like, due to Joe Burrow being like, man, I suck so bad.
Nah,
like,
he's turned 29. He's in
that's
the
what
prime
I'm
of his
saying.
career.
Yeah, he's absolutely fine. I have full faith in him. Who do I not have full faith in? Perhaps the people in charge at that place.
Yeah? So, where do you go from here? Zach Taylor took full accountability. The Bengals are 4-10. Their draft picks have not hit. Like, there are some. Like, you look at Chase Brown, who was a 5th-round pick. He shouldn't have been there in the 5th round. You have DJ Turner as having a great year. Mm-hmm. But I need to see any corner do it more year over year. I'm not saying DJ won't. I hope he does.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. 2nd round. But, like,
I mean, Knight played the best game of his life
played a great game
this week.
Yeah, and Zach Taylor does always say this, give credit when it's due. Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter are literally in their, like, 14th and 9th NFL starts. They're learning. It's just tough that they're both learning at the same time at the linebacker position as rookies. And the Bengals defense has been getting better and better every week since the bye. Mm-hmm. With that said, the draft picks have not hit. A lot of the decisions have not been good ones.
Mm-hmm. Both in-game and, like, off-season.
But if you go back the last few years, I'm talking about personnel. You let Jesse Bates walk.
Yeah.
You let, like, a lot of these key defensive players.
Yeah.
So.
And unfortunately, you make the decision to keep key defensive players that they're not even here right now.
And even before we get into it, just like the way the Bengals organization run, I don't know, did you see this clip from Logan Wilson and Morgan Wilson's podcast?
I did.
About Logan Wilson now in Dallas. He was a captain on this team. He got traded because a captain requested a trade. People forget, 2 of the Bengals' 7 captains have requested trades.
And are not playing currently.
Well, Logan's with the Cowboys now.
And then
Hendrickson
just isn't playing.
Yeah. Well, he's out for the year with
He's on the IR, yeah.
So he had surgery or procedure, whatever. They were basically like, we don't want to say anything bad about the Bengals, but holy cow, you could see how nice it is on the other side.
But also I'm like,
Cowboys.
Oh, it's the Cowboys. Like, she was like, yeah, we're learning that they revitalized this whole town. And I'm like, well, duh. Like, they did that back, I'm not.
But I go back a few years ago. I heard CJ Uzomah, I think it was on Bussin' with the Boys podcast, Uzomah, who played here for like his entire career, and then he went to the Jets, and he tells this story. So a lot of the Bengals, they will get massages at like independent contractors, and Uzomah gets to the Jets, and he's in the locker room, and he's asking some of his teammates, hey guys, like, what's a good number for a massage you use here in New Jersey? And they're like, what do you mean?
They said go down the
hall. Yeah. He goes, well, in Cincinnati, like, we all went to this place. And he goes, no. And there's like 20 massage beds and 4 masseuses on staff. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, and
that's just part of what the Bengals is.
And not to say that this was specifically about what you're saying, but I mean, literally this week, Zach Moss tweeted.
I reached out to Zach for comment about this, and I didn't get back from him.
Yeah, because he tweeted out, easily the worst franchise in sports. I've been telling you guys this.
Was that Jermaine Burton tweet real?
I think it was, but I don't want to stand on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure.
He was like #Who Dey.
But I did look, and it looked like it was the real account.
It looked like it was real.
Yeah.
Jermaine Burton was also like chiming in, who was literally just cut by the Bengals last week.
Yeah, so it's not great when former players who, like...
I respect, like, that coming from Zach Moss shocked me.
Yeah.
Because Zach Moss, for those who don't remember, he played here for a little over a season. He broke his neck.
Yeah.
And the Bengals brought him back for a second year. And, like, he's writing in the comments, the Bengals brought you back. He goes, no, I was under contract.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's like a person where, like, in our meeting, somebody mentioned it, and they were like, he's just mad because Chase Brown. No.
Zach and Chase are friends.
That's what I'm saying. He
commented about that on Twitter.
He is truly just stating that he thinks this is one of the worst franchises in sports.
He is not mad because he actually, when Zach and Chase were both playing, Zach was RB1.
Yeah.
Chase only got RB1 when Zach got hurt.
Yeah.
And Zach and Chase are friends. Zach was one of the most professional men I've dealt with in a locker room, and he's played for the Bills, Colts, and Bengals. So he's seen how 2 other organizations do it on a daily basis.
2 other organizations that, for what it's worth, yes, like, have they been to Super Bowls, whatever, but aren't like
they're not big cities.
The well-known Dallas Cowboy.
The Colts are known to have a very good, and
they
the Bills
have a family, yeah.
Yeah, and the Bills too. Like, but my point is like.
But I'm saying you
the
could
same
do that.
size.
You could do that.
Oh.
It is not like the Bills are getting the money of, Johnson & Johnson to like do what they need.
Yeah.
They are still.
The family has a lot of money, but
yeah.
yes. I mean, I think that, the Browns are this is the old trope. They're like the only organization in the NFL that their primary income is the team.
Yeah, which is the reason for a lot of the issues that they have.
They still have the capital, they just don't use it.
Yeah.
But
okay. I think I'm not saying that that's why. I'm saying because this is their income, they're not willing to do the things that they should or will do to win.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, with that said, changes for next year, which the next 3 weeks will do a lot of that. Although I do keep thinking back to the Reds just 2 years ago, and this is very different, but when the Reds fired their manager, David Bell, with 5 games left in the season to get ahead.
Unnecessary.
Right. The reason with the Reds were that was so they could start the process and do exit interviews because this is the last team that'll be together. I thought they did David Bell wrong. Listen, it worked out. They got Terry Francona. They got to the playoffs. So
yeah.
I just don't. But my point is this group is there till the end of the year. And I think they're there next year.
And I think, yes, these.
And when we say this group, we're talking about Duke Tobin and Zach Taylor.
Yes, these future and Al Golden. These future games are meaningless in the sense that they can't go to the playoffs, but they are meaningful in the sense that if the defense continues to do better, Al Golden, I don't think his job was really ever in question due to the fact that it was his first year. It's a lot of rookies, but. If the defense keeps doing better, the organization is noticing that the defense is doing better. Mm-hmm. They're going to be fine without Golden. If there's no winning, but you're Zach Taylor and you go, yeah, my offense is finally healthy with Joe and we're winning still these last 3 games, even though they don't mean anything.
If they're 7-10, it looks a lot better than 4-13.
It looks significantly better, yeah. So, I mean, these games still mean something to them.
I asked Zach about that.
I wanted to note, though, I did put in here, Athletics Paul Tanner.
Shout out, Paul.
Wrote an article where he actually noted something that I don't think a lot of people knew. I mean, he wrote what we knew, which is that Duke Tobin is family to them, doubtful, blah, blah, blah. But he also wrote that Zach Taylor actually signed another extension after the AFC Championship game in 2022 that actually has his contract 2 more years, not 1 more year, which is what people know, through 28.
The 27 end of the 28.
Yes, but just to be clear.
So January. So in theory, you win the Super Bowl football season of 28. So February 28 rather than
Which a lot of people thought that it was 27 next year.
Oh, the Bengals won't pay a buyout.
And that's what he wrote about. He wrote about when Marvin Lewis was DOA, but he had 1 extra year, and so they said just stay because that's not really how the Bengals function. So I think everything we knew confirmed.
I also stand on, and I've been saying this, I don't think Zach is the problem. I know we don't agree on that.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Stand by it.
I stand on it. I don't think Zach is the problem. I don't think they have the guys to win. They just don't have the right players.
I would argue when they did have the guy, they don't currently.
The last time they had the guys to win is when they went to the Super Bowl and AFC Championship. It's the last time they had the guys to win.
I'm staying mute. I think they had the guys to win the year after as well.
No, Joe Burrow was out most of the year when he hurt his wrist.
He hurt his wrist, yeah.
And that basically ended their season.
But if you remember with the wrist season, as with so many seasons,
they
started off terrible.
Sure.
Which is really a problem, I think, that is Zach Taylor's fault.
And then Zach Taylor did bring up the good point that Joe was healthy this year. We started off 2-0. I'm just saying.
No, I understand. You're stating things. I'm also stating with the eye that I have. I see that there are issues with Zach Taylor, and I'm
not saying there's no issues. I just don't think he is the primary problem. The primary problem is scouting and players.
Yes, but I think yes, you are 100% right. Yes, I have always believed that whether or not Duke Tobin needs to be fired, more needs to be put into the scouting, the player personnel, all that kind of stuff. Totally agree.
But Duke's not going anywhere.
But that's the problem. Duke's not going anywhere. And I think if Zach can only do this much with this group, then you got to look at Zach too. So I think that both of them need to be looked at. Unfortunately, neither of them will be looked at. Yeah. So it is what it is on that front. You said that you asked Zach about it.
About the last 3 games and momentum going into the offseason. And, well, first I asked Zach because he was talking about T and concussion protocol, and a bunch of other guys being injured. Will decisions be made more conservatively now that the games don't mean anything? After he said Joe Burrow will be the quarterback the last 3 games because they want to win. Mm-hmm. And he said it's a case-by-case scenario. So then I followed up with the last 3 games of the year. How important is that for a fractured locker room culture and momentum going forward? And he goes, we need to win this week. We need to go 1-0 against Miami. But it is very clear from other guys I talked to. I talked to DJ Turner, and I asked him about these final 3 games. He's like, we're all putting together tape. And I go, okay, wait, pause. Tape.
You said, where are you going, DJ?
Yeah, like you hear people doing that in the TV world. It means, okay, I'm putting a reel together to leave.
Yeah.
But what he's saying, no, we need to put together good tape to learn from, because good tape from an individual makes it to a position group, makes it to a team. I'm like, okay, I buy that.
Yeah.
So, like, we are putting together what the best version of our team can look like. Mm-hmm. And that's what we build with next year.
Yeah.
So, I love that answer, actually.
Which I think if you're, like, the Jets this year, 100% go off. Like, that's exactly what I want to hear. If you're a team...
Not really, because I think they need a quarterback, and you want to get Mendoza. But, yeah,
no, but I'm saying you want to see the bones. You want to see what's happening. I think it's interesting because for both Miami and Cincinnati... you are putting together tape, but also it's like, what all can we do to address this? What do we need to do?
Is Miami officially eliminated yet?
Yes, they are.
Oh, because they lost to the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's like, for both of these teams, I think it's a very interesting situation. We've seen good games out of these teams before, or crazy games with like the Tua concussion game here. Yeah, forget about that because so many other crazy things have happened.
I have not forgotten about it. I was there.
No, I know. I was too. It was crazy. But I think that for this
that was the same season as DeMar Hamlin.
Yes, it was, which is why it gets kind of like forgotten because it was before it. But for this situation, you're looking at 2 teams that both coaches are going to stay but have been under fire or questioned for a lot of decisions. Both, I think the quarterback situation is kind of different. I think we all know that Joe Burrow, I think, is significantly better than Tua.
Yeah.
But a lot of injury issues, a lot of questions. So what are these 2 teams looking at when they come in? What are they trying to prove? Just to themselves? Just to...
Well, Miami can still finish the year with a winning record, right? They're 6-8?
Yeah, they're still 6-8.
So, I mean... kind of what we were just talking about, they were down their best wide receiver for most of the year in Tyreek Hill, their best player. So if Miami goes 9-8 for the year, like you got something to build on next year. Mm-hmm. And the Bengals, I think it goes back to the tape comment, and it goes back to like justifying jobs. You go 3-0 to end the year, and they fully can, because the Dolphins game, I don't know who will win, but then you got the Cardinals and Browns. They could lose both those games, but they could also win both those games.
Yeah.
So you end the year on a 3-game winning streak, winning 4 of your last 6. And then there's, that says something to the league too when you're trying to attract free agents. Like, hey, look, we figured this out, and we're talking to a safety, and we're like, we were you away.
Yeah.
Like that makes it a much more palpable place in free agency. So yes, I think the Bengals will mess up their first-round draft pick no matter what, because that's like low-key what they do. They've hit on. I think Amarius Mims.
Bit now.
I think Amarius Mims is a hit.
I actually think people don't talk about that. Amarius Mims has done well this season.
Amarius Mims is a hit. And then besides that, it's been Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow as hits, which were no does.
And I do want to give him some credit.
Miles Murphy?
Well, actually, yeah.
He's playing better.
Miles Murphy has played better, but I was going to say this year's first-round pick.
Shamar Stewart?
Who a lot of people have, argued about. Shamar Stewart's been injured for, the majority, or he's been out, I should say,
for the majority. He hasn't been the guy in the locker room that I would want as a first-round pick. I'll leave you at that.
And I know that, and I've seen the clips where, they lost, and he was like, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later, or laugh things off, whatever. But I also think, he's a child, and I also not actually, but he's a rookie in this
Your
world.
first round
and
pick,
he's
you
hurt.
lose the ability to give you the benefit of the doubt of being a child. You just have.
No, I
unless
wasn't-
you're a Jamar Chase as a rookie.
Oh, I wasn't saying benefit of the doubt. I was saying he was childish.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we haven't been able to actually see much that he's done because he hasn't played that much. So it's like maybe next
Which
year
was like
he'll
kind
do.
of a lot of a story about him.
And that's also the story that we had with Mims, where Mims got hurt.
But Mims
last
came
year.
in and proved it.
But then he came in and proved it. So I'm wondering
And
if
came
next.
in mature and great teammate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not fair to compare the two.
I wasn't really comparing. I was more
Fairchild's
so
been
saying.
okay too.
I was more so saying I think next season will be the season where I can tell you like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So and it's
Oh
also
my
too early to. But my point is, I think they're going to mess up their first round pick because odds are they
that's
will.
the bit, yes.
So win the games and win the games and be a more attractable place for free agents. Like find your diamonds in the rough because people aren't going to like after the Super Bowl, after the AFC Championship. Cincinnati was a desirable place because people want to play in a Super Bowl.
They wanted to play with Joe. They wanted to play with Jamar.
You're
and T.
losing some of that luster right now.
Yes.
So show that you still have it. That's what you're playing for. So
Is there anything else you want to say about the Dolphins game fully?
a win would be really good for that locker room because a loss will be catastrophic. Like this is a team that needs a win for like the mental health of the not mental health. The health of the locker room.
Yeah.
This team needs a win. So yes, they're not playing for the playoffs. Yes, the fans might not care anymore, and like fans probably want them to lose to get a better draft pick.
I actually don't think the Bengals fans.
The
would care
fans,
about that.
this locker room needs
Yeah.
a win.
I think the Bengals fans would honestly rather them win than.
hot take.
I really, yeah, shocked. But I'm saying like it's not like the fail for the top pick. Like that's not where the Bengals are right now. So I think the fans are like, please show us something. Show us signs of life.
Yeah, Bengals need to win. Bengals need to win. Like you need to win. That's my take on the Dolphins game. You find a way, win the football game. I mean, shoot, maybe there's a player on the Dolphins you'll want to sign. Like who knows?
Yeah.
Let's talk college football. Are we done with the Bengals for now? Because we have a lot more future talk we could do on the Bengals over the next few weeks. So the Bearcats in the Liberty Bowl. We talked about it a little bit last week.
If you're in line to play at the Liberty Bowl, stay
in line. Now I know what that means.
Yes.
It's Friday, January 2nd.
Yes, it's January 2nd.
4:30. My real quick take on this is some guys will be playing in for the Bearcats. You probably won't know a lot of their names. We'll have a preview show next Saturday on WCPO. Check it out.
I'll be honest, like, who cares?
Watch our show.
No, not about the show. Not about the show. I'm saying, like we've said before, bowls have lost their luster if it's not the college football playoffs or our Pop-Tart Bowl.
Navy's playing the starters.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, why do
Triple
I want to
option.
watch the third string or second string somebody
I like to watch
play
it for
them?
like the walk-ons who will be sticking around, and you know it'd be nice to win a bowl game for Cincinnati because
That's
it
true.
would do good for the culture of also the Bearcats. Like
It'd be big for Satterfield.
it'd be so yeah. I do think
But I'm saying
It's not
as
what
a
it used to
fan,
be.
as a fan,
you care about the program and you want the program to be going in the right direction.
yeah.
I'm with you,
Yeah, no, it's just hard. It's a hard sell, I think,
Yeah.
for fans to be like,
especially
yes,
because
watch
it's not
these
one of the
guys.
fun bowls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we were in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I would
Did you
be all
see
in.
What's his name? The BYU coach.
I did. Unfortunately, I saw it, and I thought that would have been so cool if I got to witness that for Cincinnati.
I'd want to be. I'd be in Orlando.
Yeah, so significantly lamer, and of course now we know, which we had already kind of talked about a little bit last week, but Brendan Sorsby's out.
Brendan Sorsby enters the transfer portal. Brendan was one of my favorite quarterbacks I've ever covered. Awesome dude, like down to earth. Wasn't really recruited anywhere out of high school. He was talking like I used to work in West Texas, and we were talking about how he was thinking about University of Texas Permian Basin, the D2 school that I covered. Like this dude just believed in himself. Got to Indiana as a backup. Signetti came in. He left. Came to Cincinnati.
And now he was getting recruited everywhere.
And he's I would argue the number one quarterback in the transfer portal right now.
Yeah.
People, above Dylan Raiola in Nebraska. Like
I agree completely. To me, yes, completely.
And I think to most people, he's a dual threat quarterback. From my understanding, he's going to see what his NFL draft grade is, and there's a chance he's written as a top 3 round pick.
Yeah, I will say, like leaving for the bowl, Satterfield did his like practice with reporters, and I did watch the videos, and he said like, I still think there's a really good chance that he ends up going to the NFL. He's just waiting to hear his like grades and his comps back.
I get it. I also think there's a chance that he gets paid a few $1 million to stay in college.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to depend if he is projected as a top 3 round pick, because Sorsby's a guy. First of all, it's a thin quarterback class. Mm-hmm. Sorsby has all the intangibles like in shorts that you could dream of as a quarterback. Like he has the height, he has the speed, he has the arm.
But he doesn't have Diego Pavia's mom.
I'm
just kidding. Yes.
Yeah, but like my point in saying that is like he will test great at the combine.
Yeah.
And he is going to be great interviews with coaches. Like he is a quarterback you want to bring into your room. Like he will be a backup.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not to be a hater, but I think he'd be a great backup. Like, I feel like that sounds bad, but being an NFL backup is still crazy.
And you never know. Someone goes down, and all of a sudden he wins a couple games in the NFL, which I think Brendan Sorsby can win an NFL game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving like, if he ended up at the 49ers, he could easily be Mac Jones. He could easily be...
If he ended up at the Packers and Jordan Love went down, he could win with that team. Like he could win. So my point in all this is I think he's going to have to do a where am I valued at versus how much money can I make in the portal. Because
he can make a lot.
He can make a lot, and you can go to a school like, for example, Texas Tech.
Oh, I wonder why we brought that one up.
Because they have all the money in the world.
Tech.
And his girlfriend is going there that he shared on his Instagram story. She's a volleyball player who was at Cincinnati. And Texas Tech in the college football playoff and has more money than anyone right now.
And perhaps their football GM and half of their players shared his announcement that he was entering the transfer portal.
He's also from Texas.
Yeah, well, and like you said, he was looking at small schools in Texas because he couldn't get another school. I think the thing about portals that's killing me is like we have to do this thing where we go, oh, he just announced his intent to transfer. Yeah. And by the time that announcement has come out, we already know how much he's been offered, who's given, like...
So the way they get around it is the GM and agent.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. It's just like, hey...
But I just think, like, it just ruins, like, let's say you're a UC fan and you're watching him play BYU, but at the same time as that game, you're reading the reports that Texas Tech is willing to offer him $5 million. So you're like, well, I guess... this game matters so much because he's going to leave at the end of this because as Satterfield told reporters, quote, there are programs out there that can certainly afford players better than we can. Like, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
Who can? So I'm like, when you're watching these as a fan.
It stinks.
It really sucks.
It's now or never.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And it was now
was rolling. They were 7-1. It was the now, and then they collapsed.
And then it became never.
So... I will forever be a Brendan Sorsby fan. I will be rooting for him wherever he goes, the NFL, college. So I am happy for him. Dante Corleone will be playing in the East-West Bowl. Mm-hmm. He's declared for the NFL draft. I hope he's a draft pick that...
There's been other players that have announced their entrance into the transfer portal as well.
Yeah, Jaquan Sangs, there's a bunch, but I'm talking about
the major guys.
The major
guys
that, names will carry outside of Cincinnati for at this point in time. Someone could have a crazy combine and all of a sudden they're a second round 2 pick, which is like Joe Royer could really go. Like Joe Royer didn't have the season that everyone thought. He was supposed to be the number 1 tight end in the country. Teams focused their defenses around him. I still could see Joe Royer being a good draft pick. Yeah. So who's also a Cincinnati guy. Okay. Any more UC college football?
Well, I just think we'll definitely talk more because obviously UC will be looking for a quarterback.
We'll be talking UC looking for a quarterback. We'll be talking the college football playoff, Ohio State, Indiana down the road.
But I do genuinely think, like, we've talked a lot about it. Things change. A lot's changed in college sports. But even in the past, like, year, with the entrance of the GMs and the different changes to the way that the college football playoffs are, I mean, college sports is just an insane thing to be a fan of right now.
Yeah, it's not what until they figure it out.
Yeah, and they're not there at all.
Not even close. Not even close. We'll talk college basketball in a little bit. We're going to talk baseball first, but I've had actually want to just go to college basketball.
Yeah.
I'm going to do baseball after because I've talked to Wes Miller about this many times. Cincinnati Bearcats head basketball coach. And he's like, listen, everyone's dealing with it, like because like UC gets great basketball recruits, like highly ranked recruits,
Yeah.
and he's everyone's dealing with it. I think of. Did I talk about it last week when Chris Henry called?
Yes, we did.
On the first call. I mean, like, Wes Miller has his phone on him 24/7 talking to recruits.
Yeah, I mean, well, like Kentucky is a blue blood basketball program, and they still are like begging and pleading with guys to stay because other people have more. Like BYU will give you $1 billion.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, On3 lists their NIL valuations now.
I know, it's insane. Speaking of UC, I don't know much about this, but I'd love to hear your POV because I'm only seeing it through tweets.
Yeah.
But UC, we don't need to talk about the basketball portion of things because it's not good. But Jizzle James, we mentioned Jizzle James was in the crowd. Jizzle James traveled, it appeared, with the team and was sitting on the bench during warm-ups of that.
So for the people who don't know, Jizzle James was Cincinnati's leading scorer last year.
Mm-hmm.
He is supposed to be a junior this year.
Son of Edgerrin James.
Son of NFL Hall of Famer Edgerrin James, or Pro Football Hall of Famer Edgerrin James. And he's actually Edgerrin Jr., but he goes by Jizzle. And
don't ask us the details behind that. He has the
it's
details,
his alter ego,
but we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, check it out. It's
but
online.
he was no longer with the team earlier in the offseason.
Wes Miller announced this offseason he won't be playing this year.
And so we all said, oh, okay. And then it appeared he was not part of anything. He was never at anything. And now he's just kind of back.
I know he was dealing with a lot last year. He had a kid, and he was going back and forth to Miami, and where his son was, or I think it's son. And he's posted about it online, so I'll,
Yeah, no, he has.
And I don't know what's going on. And when he was in the crowd, Wes was asked about it, and he was like, yeah, well, he's still enrolled here. He never said he wasn't still a student, which is like kind of funny because like, was he ever a student? And like not that's not
He's
even
a basketball player.
He's a basketball player. And then he was on the bench, and Wes was asked about it after the Georgia game, where that camera shot was crazy.
Yeah, I saw.
Against the white wall, and was asked, "Is that a good sign?" He said, "Yes." So
And
Jizzle was there. So
and now it's like brought life to a team that has been incredibly disappointing. Where shock of the century, they're always incredibly disappointing. It feels like, but
not always.
Yeah,
there was a time.
There's always a time where things feel hopeful, but a lot of people were like, "Wait, if Jizzle can come back for the spring semester, like this could change everything." And I'm just like, what's going on, guys?
I don't know, and I'm pretty dialed into that program. I don't know.
You famously speak to Wes Miller.
Yeah, I'm talking to him in 2 days. Like we talk once a week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. It's obviously something not basketball related.
Clearly, yeah.
So I don't know. Do I think Jizzle James could help this team tremendously?
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's the crazy thing is like he would be great.
Especially with all like these, Sean Abayev, like being able to look up to Jizzle. Like Sean Abayev I spoke to. And I mean, he's like the second McDonald's All-American ever to play at Cincinnati. And he's like a business, like to have someone who's been in the spotlight to look at like Jizzle, like who came up as the guy. Like Jizzle came up as one of the guys. To be able to look up to him, that would be huge. I mean, and maybe he's there. Like, I don't know.
I mean, clearly he is there. He's traveling with the team.
So.
But it's a very interesting situation there. We don't need to talk heavily about this, but Xavier, because we will talk later, Xavier starts Big East play.
Yeah.
They've been shocking. Shocking. Hey,
Trey Carroll's a dog.
I'm seeing Xavier fans tweeting about how Sean Miller has about the same, if not worse, record as
Richard
Xavier.
Pitino. Richard Pitino, I said it when he got hired. I think he's a great hire.
Yeah.
And just wait till they get better players.
Great three-point shooting. I mean, but it'll be interesting to watch them in actual
defense is
play.
What defense to me is the thing that Xavier needs to do to stand out, and they've been doing it. Mm-hmm. So, and knowing who your stars are, and Trey Carroll is a star.
Yeah.
So, yeah, That's all I got to say about Xavier. Like,
we'll get to talk a lot more about
I want to
them.
see them in Big East play.
Yeah.
Because I think non-con play, I think we both agree on this. Like, I don't know what to take from this. Like, Wes Miller says it all the time. He goes, we got to be in full form mid-January to early February.
Yeah, and UC starts in after the holidays.
January 3rd.
They play Houston.
They play Houston at 2 o'clock. That's their first Big 12 game.
But Xavier starts this week, so we'll get to see some about them.
Yeah.
Let's talk a
Let's
little
talk
baseball.
So we talked about it last week. The Reds don't get Kyle Schwarber. They offered him 5 years, $125 million. He winds up signing instead to stay in Philadelphia for 5 years, $150 million. And more came out about this because Schwarber said him and his wife flew to Cincinnati, and they
Actually, he said that they came from Middletown to Cincinnati.
Yes, so they flew to Cincinnati to go to Middletown to come
And
back
they
to
came
Cincinnati.
back to Cincinnati, which I think
Actually,
is funny.
they flew to Hebron, Kentucky, and then or maybe they went to Lunkin. What do I know?
Yeah. He's got a private jet.
Yeah, maybe. Well, now he does. And, you know, he was really,
Well, let's say we talked about it. ESPN's Jeff Passan first posted that Schwarber wasn't getting offered as much from the Reds. Then, like, he was like,
yeah,
they just
I'm just
had
processing,
nothing.
yeah.
Then Ken Rosenthal came out and was like, actually, no, the Reds offered as much as everybody else. Then finally Kyle Schwarber spoke and basically was like, yeah, no, they were willing to do what they could. And then, of course, Nick Kroll spoke and kind of corroborated.
This is where the Reds can't get it right.
Yeah.
You could have just said we lost out.
Yeah.
Instead, and it's not like they give more to the media than they ever should. They usually don't.
No, they don't. In
But
fact.
I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially said we were willing to pay more because we would make money in ticket sales.
But it's not exactly what he said.
I said paraphrasing.
Yeah. I think, Kyle Schwarber said, no, honestly, I was shocked. Cincinnati really did try to put everything out there. And Kroll said what is correct.
Nick Kroll is the president of baseball operations for the Reds.
He said which I think is like correct, which is, as I said, our payroll is small, but we were coming up with these creative ways to try to make it to where we could match whatever the
and so
Phillies
there was
had.
room to move.
Yeah, he didn't on the record say, and that's because we knew he would sell tickets, but that is kind of what the implication was there. And unfortunately, as much as Kyle Schwarber might love Cincinnati and he might have grown up watching it, clearly it didn't move the needle as much as the Phillies anyway. So even if the Reds were willing to go 160, 100 and whatever, it wasn't going to happen, is what we learned from that story.
And you know what gets me on this is because the ticket sales thing is real.
Yeah.
And that's such a Cincinnati way of thinking because he's from around here, so he grew up a Reds fan. They didn't even make a wave at Pete Alonso.
They did not, no.
Pete Alonso went to Baltimore. If you went to Baltimore, why wouldn't you come to Cincinnati? Cincinnati's in a better place to win than Baltimore is.
Yeah.
And they didn't. Home runs, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Pete Alonso's from the Tampa area. I'm pretty sure home runs count the same if you're from Middletown or Tampa. I'm pretty sure when the Reds are good, Great American Ballpark gets packed, no matter who is there. Would Kyle Schwarber have put people in their seats? Of course he would have. Would a perennial all-star who also hits home runs and plays first base put people in seats because the Reds are now a better baseball team? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I would say,
Why did
Kyle Tucker's available.
If you go for Kyle Schwarber, I get it, lefty, righty, whatever. But why are you not going for, you wanted a home run hitter? Pete Alonso, I guarantee you, if you made a better offer than the Orioles, Pete Alonso would have come to Cincinnati.
Well,
or at least go down swinging.
You should also clarify, it's not just, Kyle Schwarber, blah, blah, blah. We loved him so much. They were very clear, yeah, we're done.
We're not going after anyone else.
We're done. Thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
We tried our best.
I think Passan reported that as well, yeah.
And I do think that that's probably true. I have seen people say that they might try to get Marte, the Diamondbacks are looking.
Ketel Marte.
Yeah. They said that they're not on his no trade list. Maybe he's available, which is fine. But if you really wanted to go after the bomber who might be an MVP.
But we're talking about free agents, not trades.
Yeah.
I want to see you swing at free agents when you have a shot, when you think you're a bat away. Because clearly, or allegedly, you thought you were a bat away because you went for Kyle Schwarber.
I don't think that's true.
No, they went for him because they thought it would sell tickets.
Yeah. And maybe, hey.
You know what else sells tickets?
Pete
World
Alonso,
Series banners.
Maybe Pete Alonso's too boring.
Do you know how many home run derbies the Cincinnati Red would have come in second place for? if they got Pete Alonso.
Hey, Kyle Schwarber also, I think, got second, didn't he? I'm pretty sure.
They have it tight. So, yes, I'm very disappointed in what the Reds did.
On the plus side for the Reds.
Yes, 2026 Hall of Fame class. Is that what you were talking about?
It features
that dude, BP. Brandon Phillips, which is so funny because I voted for Brandon Phillips. Hand up, I believe in transparency.
I will release my ballot.
Yeah, I voted for Brandon Phillips. We got to vote for 2. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I did. Whatever. Take my vote away. And I posted the clip, whatever it was, like 5 or 6 weeks ago when we talked about it. I was like, I really hope Brandon's a good dude because, like, got a resounding amount of, oh, you were not here for that, honey.
Yeah.
Like, this was not fun. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of glad I wasn't because this was a childhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, oh my God, a lot of other reporters in the market who are either retired or still around were like, oh, you did not have to deal with this.
And he said, oh, no, I didn't. So good
I
for
said,
me.
I really hope no one tells me he's not a good guy. Well, a lot of people told me he wasn't, but man, was he cool.
Yeah, good baseball
on TV.
player.
So yeah, Brandon Phillips and Aaron Harang, I believe, are the 2 modern guys. Sweet Lou Piniella, he got in.
And I'm sorry to say, you know,
that was Pete's team.
I'm gonna say something worse.
Oh.
Which is, I didn't even realize he was with the Reds.
Where he was a 1990 manager, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he was, and I didn't know that. I literally was looking.
So
it up.
I knew that because everyone.
team.
Well, I knew that because I know that, but
Yeah.
like everyone was like, we loved Lou. The 1990 team was Pete Rose's team because it was '89 when Pete.
Yeah,
had to
as
go
somebody
away.
born in '96, which you were too, I was like, yes, he was, I think, the Mariners, and then he was with the Cubs for a couple years. Like I
Yeah.
had no even like awareness.
Oh, Detroit, right?
Yeah, he was with like 4 or 5 teams, but the Reds were not at the top of my list of places where Sweet Lou was.
And had a ring.
So-
He has a ring from.
No, I know. When I looked it up, I went, oh,
Yeah.
1990. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, good for Lou Piniella. From all accounts I've heard, he's a good guy from everything I've heard. And Reggie Sanders also. So, yeah. But the whole thing, whenever you say the 1990 Lou Piniella, any Red on that team will go, that was Pete's team. Eric Davis has said it to me. Barry Larkin has said it to me. They all liked Lou.
And I will say, when I knew that the Reds won the 1990 World Series,
Six Flags.
I was like, yeah, so cool. But I literally was like, oh yes, that was Pete Rose's team. Like literally, my own brain was like, obviously
No,
Pete Rose.
Pete did not get that ring.
No, he was not there.
No, he was not. He was watching somewhere else. But yeah, so that's the Reds right now. As you can see, I am got feelings about it, but happy for the Hall of Fame class. That'll be a fun weekend in Cincinnati next summer. Cincy dude in the news, which I kind of teased earlier, is kind of real tea, right?
Yeah.
Cam Mercer. So a lot of our listeners, viewers probably don't know who he is. So Cam Mercer is a 5-star basketball high school player. Shooting guard. He's ranked 5th in the class of 2028, so he's a sophomore, that means. He was playing for Overtime Elite down in Atlanta, which is like one of these fake schools that I don't even know if it's sanctioned.
It is sanctioned, but yeah, it's
academically.
Not even, it is because they just do these weird like
basically
tutor
homeschooling.
things.
Yeah. But like you go,
So
if you
weird.
go there, it's because you're on track to play in the NBA.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the 6'7" kid,
Yes.
who's also from Northern
Newport.
Kentucky, he is at OT. He's
Yeah,
at
Overtime Elite. So yes, he has his own water now.
He has his
6'7"
own
water.
Yeah, he has his own water, and he's going to Kansas next year.
Yes. So Cam Mercer though
Is younger than him and still a star.
and he decided to transfer back to the Cincinnati area, and he's going to be playing and he is playing at Princeton High School. The reason, on record, he spoke with our high school sports expert and insider, Mike Dyer, his father did, saying was, Ohio has some real really good basketball talent, and I feel without NIL, it's gone away. I'm glad to be the first one to come back after the change. NIL was everything with my decision because I couldn't have gone back without it. So I'm thanking the Uber Heights Wayne wide receiver, Jameer Brown, for fighting the OHSAA for it, because without him, I wouldn't be able to come home. So this man, or boy, decision made by him and his father to come back to Ohio because NIL is the 45th state allowing high school NIL.
Yeah, so we're very behind, I would say.
But like, that's crazy.
But he's so right, because you think of Ohio and you think good football, like Ohio State. That's who the Jameer Brown, he's going to Ohio State.
Yes.
You think of like good football players, and LeBron James. Like there's Steph Curry's from Akron if you wanted to do it.
Deuce McBride currently plays for the Knicks. Jackson Hayes went to Mulder.
We have a lot of talent, but where did all of those people go to school? Now, for like LeBron back in the day, he went to school in Ohio. Nowadays, you can go to any prep school anywhere you want. So I think the idea of having NIL here means, wait, you could go to Princeton. He went to, I think, Winton Woods Middle School.
Yes, and then he went to prep. He went to Huntington in West Virginia.
Yeah, he went somewhere else. But I'm like, imagine you could just be a great star for Winton Woods and make a bunch of money if you really wanted to because of this NIL deal.
And he's going to Princeton, where his brother is also transferring. His brother is a 3 or 4 star defensive tackle, I want to say. He plays football, and I believe he's transferring to Princeton. Mm-hmm. So the brothers could be together. But
Jalen Mercer.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really big story that Ohio's finally getting on the same level as all, like, the 45th state. And you know what? It never would have happened unless Jameer Brown
sued them.
Mm-hmm. And it worked.
Although I will say, because obviously Mike Dyer does an amazing job reporting on this, OHSAA always wanted to do this, but you needed all of the schools to vote yes or no to this.
Yeah.
And it was
I'm not less OHSAA, more.
No, but I was saying it was a hard battle because the schools were like, oh, wait, what? Huh? Because when you hear NIL, I think a lot of older people are scared of what you have to pay, what you need to do.
And that the private schools would have such a leg up on the public schools.
But in reality, a lot of these, like Cam Mercer's NIL deal that he has now, he already has one, it's like a water company. It has nothing to do with the school.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing boosters. I think
that is a thing, although like it is already a thing.
People have been illegally getting people to go to private
schools
school
have been getting
forever.
Kids forever.
This has been going on for 100 years.
But I think like if you were a person who went to a normal public school or whatever you wanted, you're still getting NIL deals from other outlets too. Like his is like, oh, you can get water, you can a lot of them are doing social media posts for like Nike or whatever. You can do that without having to go to a private school, get the booster money, whatever.
Yeah, Matt Ponatoski and Moeller already has a few deals.
Private school.
Right, but I'm saying his deals are like with brands, like you were saying.
But I do genuinely think it's more interesting the idea that you can go to a public school. The public school's not going to be like, here's $5 billion, but you can still make money off of different stuff.
Okay, and this brings up a question for me though. If you are good enough to get NIL from a public school, why aren't you going to a private school? Because the private schools will pay you money.
I think if you care about like making money, you'll probably just go to a private school. But I think like there are a lot of people. I can just speak for myself. Like my dad was a public school teacher and coach, and like it wouldn't matter if I were the next like Mia Hamm. I was going to a public school. Like there are people there are people who like I think are just going to a public school because there might not, like if you live in the middle of kind of nowhere, Ohio, what are you going to do? Drive all the way to Cincinnati to go to whatever private school? A lot of people did do that. But now it's like, oh, I can go to the middle of nowhere, Ohio, be the superstar, make money off of whatever stuff I need.
And it's the same thing though with the platforms. Like for example, I'm a public school kid too, and I was very successful as an athlete there and got to college for it.
Yeah.
But like my sister, for example, was also an athlete. She also played college softball, and she did 2 years at public school and was like, this isn't for me. Yeah. And then, went to private school.
Yeah, you have whatever options you want.
But my point is, like, sure, I think you're in a very unique case where your family is like, this is our school through and through. This is like what we believe in. But if we're talking about people like at a level that I was nowhere near, when we're talking about like, why would anyone endorse anyone outside of like rural Texas and like real football country? Like, why would anyone endorse a high school athlete from a public school? Like, I hope it happens.
I think you're thinking at a big scale, like a huge scale, but I think there's also just like, hey, I can do signings.
I think it's more like, hey, I like Evo Shield will give me free gear.
That's
more than making money.
Kind of, like, I'm more so thinking like, if you live in a smaller area, but you're still a great athlete, you can just like make money for doing like a thing for the car dealership in your town.
You could go speak to a middle school and make $100.
Like
sure.
that's where you can get that random money.
Well, this is what the idea of it from the beginning was.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so fine, you're right. But I'm so conditioned on, I was so excited. I remember covering, when I was working in Vermont, the star college basketball player, conference player of the year, got a deal with Felino's Pizza where he was paid a couple $100 and got free pizza for the month. And he was the conference player of the year in the Division I basketball conference. You need at least $100K to even talk to someone like that.
Yeah.
So
but
I just see it going that way.
Yeah, but I will say like Jameer Brown, he goes to a public school. He goes to Huber Heights Wayne. That is a public school.
Yeah.
So like I think it's just giving people who can't or don't have the ability, maybe they're not the 5-star whatever Cam Mercer might be, but isn't Princeton a public school?
Princeton's a public school.
That's what I'm saying. So like maybe you're not whatever, but you still are able to do things that like you're not able to do at most public schools.
I'm interested to see how it's going to play out.
I think there are scary things about it, but
I just see it going the same way as college, which is what it is.
I think that it won't go the way of college only because I think the value of high school, maybe in like a place like Texas.
I was just saying, because I also know, like I worked in West Texas.
It's like a life or death
But
situation.
so like I just have, and I've covered high school football here. I know what some people care about it. Like when you're talking about like St. X Moeller Elder alums.
No, they do care.
Like there's going to be millions of dollars thrown into this, and I'm not saying I'm against it. I just don't think anyone should be coy about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I just think it's going to be. It did sound like you were against it.
Like I'm not against the idea of what you said. I love the idea of what you said, and I loved that for college sports. But I just saw what happened in college.
Yeah. No, I understand. I do just think that there's less money to play here, whereas like maybe in this world Moeller gets a GM who is now using the money from the alum to do this. But I do think that's just less places. Like in the state of Ohio,
but
it's
the
not going to do that much.
trickle down effect is real.
Okay, Ronald Reagan.
That was crazy.
Trickle down economics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
But the trickle down, yeah, I know. I think of him as an actor more than anything. Yeah, I just think the trickle down effect is real.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it'll only be the St. X's of the world who do that. But that affects everything.
Yeah.
So,
I will say in some of the other states that I've looked at, it just hasn't been a big deal.
Because it's so new.
Yeah, it's mostly just been like, oh, Cam Mercer is getting a deal for something, but not a lot of, like most of the kids aren't.
And I love that.
And
it's when collectives and boosters come in, I'm going to be...
I hope that it maintains that world. I don't know if it will, but I hope that it does.
Well, that was tea.
Congrats to Cam Mercer for coming back and
so
being
that's
with his family.
I love that. So that's what Cincinnati News is supposed to be. Fun stuff. All right. Again, no episode next week. Enjoy. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. All the things. We'll be here with you before the New Year. Right? Yeah. Math is math. And New Year's Eve we'll have an episode.
Here, yes.
Bengals Dolphins this week. A lot of other things. Thanks for hanging out. Like, subscribe. Grateful for all y'all this holiday season. Say hi to us. DM us. And Spotify, Apple, YouTube, like, rate, subscribe, all the things. And that's it. Relax. It's just sports.